Hey friends, just wanted to take a minute and bring you up to speed on a handful of exciting developments here at Alderman Farms. The first of which, and perhaps the most important of which to us as a farm enterprise, a developing farm enterprise, would be the approval of our retail pork label. If we want to sell pork retail, prepackaged cuts and whatnot at farmers markets and to individuals who would come to our farm to purchase pork, one of the bureaucratic hurdles that we had to clear was the approval of our labels. Depending on what state you live in, there are any number of hurdles that you have to clear, and in Mississippi this is one. It's not unreasonable. I think it's a reasonable hurdle regulation that you had to have labels on your packaging, and here's what ours look like. And so we are now able to have our pork processed, our American Guinea Hogs processed at a state-inspected facility. I don't like the fact that we have to drive them 2.5 hours away from Alderman Farms to be processed, but as it stands, there's only one state-inspected facility. And what I mean by that, it means that there is a state inspector on site. I'm sure most processing facilities are inspected at various intervals. I would hope so. But what I mean to say is our pork must be processed under state inspection, meaning there has to be a state inspector on site. And there's only one facility like that in the state of Mississippi for pork. And it's 2.5 hours away. So I don't like that, but hey, don't have any choice. It could be worse. If we wanted to sell our pork retail across state lines, we'd have to go all the way to Alabama, because it would have to be processed under USDA inspection, and the nearest facility that has an on-site USDA inspector is in Alabama. So I'm not going to be doing that, at least not anytime soon. So that's development number one. We have our labels. We hope to be processing our first pork for retail in the very near future. Our boar, who has served us well and provided us a couple of good litters, it's time for him to fulfill his ultimate destiny in providing delicious food for our family and others. We've loved him and treated him well, and he's had a great life and life of comfort and leisure, and so I take solace in that. It won't be a pleasant day when we deliver him for processing, but that's part of the process, and we've come to terms with it, understanding that our part of the process is to treat them well while we have them, and help them to live as comfortably and as naturally as possible. So that's the first development I wanted to tell you about, the approval of our retail pork labels. The second development has something to do with this fancy microphone that you see right here in front of me, is that we have launched a podcast. There's only one episode so far, because I found out when I was ready to register the podcast with iTunes that you had to have an episode in the can to even submit it to iTunes. So I put together a brief introductory podcast and edited it together and shot it up there. So it's there. You can find us. We are Alderman Farms Radio on both iTunes and Stitcher. I'll put some links in the description of this video, and we hope you'll go subscribe, because look, we've got some things coming up on the podcast that I'm excited about. We're going to be having some pretty exciting interviews. We're going to be interviewing our friend Chef Nick Wallace from Nick Wallace Culinary. You can find, I'll put his link to his website in the description as well. We're going to be interviewing, we'll be talking to Nick about his preference for locally sourced food off of local sustainable farms. Actually, I'll segue briefly into the third update that's kind of exciting. Nick is the executive chef at the Palette Cafe, located inside the Mississippi Museum of Art in Jackson, Mississippi, the capital city of the state of Mississippi. And once a month, Nick does a special dish, and he calls it Sip Source. That's apostrophe SIPP, sourced, which is just a simple abbreviation for Mississippi sourced. He focuses on a locally provided source of food for one of his signature dishes for a weekend at the museum. And coming up later this month in March of 2015, Alderman Farms is up, and he's going to be preparing some of our pork, some of our pastured eggs, and we can't wait to see what comes out of that. And I know if Nick prepares it, it's going to be fantastic. But anyway, we'll talk to him about that and some of his upcoming projects. He's a man that does more in 24 hours than I can do in a week, and he never appears to be frazzled at all. My hair's gray, but it would fall out if I had to do everything that he has to do. The third exciting trying not to move on. I'm still talking about the podcast. But anyway, we're going to be interviewing Daniel Doyle, the director of the Mississippi Sustainable Agriculture Network. We'll be talking to Dr. Bill Evans, who is a specialist from Mississippi State, works at the Truck Crops Experiment Station in Crystal Springs. We'll be talking to Allison Bueller of the Mississippi Homestead Center. And we've got some more things up our sleeve and some interviews that we'll be doing. Patty will join me on some podcast episodes just to talk about topics that our fans and friends find of interest and things that we find of interest about the happenings on the farm and homestead related topics. And so I've already told you about the third exciting thing, so that was odd. 1, 3, 2, or kind of 1, 2, 2.5, 3, and back to 2. But so I'm enjoying this microphone. I know it looks kind of funky maybe on video. I kind of feel like I kind of even look like Wolfman Jack, don't I? I'm not sure. But anyway, so please go subscribe to the podcast. And if you're watching this video is the first time you've been to our YouTube channel, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check it out. We've got playlists filled with cuteness, baby pigs, baby goats. Maybe if you've seen the baby goats, we're expanding our dairy herd of Nubian goats. We hope to be soon finding a suitable boar buck to begin producing a combination goat cross between meat breed, the boar, and the delicious milk producing Nubian goats. Had an old man tell me one time, drinking Nubian milk, it'll make you want to throw rocks at cows. And it is awfully good, but I'll tell you what, I enjoy my Jersey milk as well. But anyway, sorry I rambled probably longer than I intended on talking. That's what you get for not having notes and an outline to follow. Let that be a lesson to you, young fella. Anyway, thanks for hanging in with me if you've watched all the way to the end. And let me know in the comments what you think about what we're doing on our channel. Let me know if you have some topics that you'd like to see videos on, or you can even send us suggestions for podcasting topics. You know what? You can email us at podcast@aldermanfarms.net. That's podcast@aldermanfarms.net. Listen, we appreciate so many of you guys that leave comments and like our videos and follow us and comment on Facebook and send us Twitters. I didn't say that right. Tweets on Twitter. And we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on Pinterest. We don't spend enough time on Pinterest, but we're there. And it's Alderman Farms everywhere. YouTube/Alderman Farms. Facebook.com/Alderman Farms. You get the idea. Twitter is @Alderman Farms. Instagram @Alderman Farms. So connect with us. We love hearing from you folks, and we really, really do appreciate your kindness. So many of you say so many very nice things about what we're doing, and we're just a family, living in the country, loving what we're doing, and enjoying sharing a little bit of our life. So, but we really do want to thank you. Seriously. See you next time.